So I noticed you're wearing the new Big Wangers t-shirt today.
Yes, because I am a businessman who owns a business called Big Wangers Incorporated. Hi, Dad. Love you. In the world of professional figure skating, there are a handful of moves that are categorically banned from ever being performed at the highest levels of competition, for reasons. As you might imagine, performing one of these forbidden moves in competition will see you being heavily penalised, which didn't stop a figure skater called Surya Bonaly from doing exactly that anyway, just to style on her opponents in 1998.
So there's a handful of specific moves that figure skaters can't do in competitions.
Yes, and the one that we're talking about today is the backflip. And the first thing we should probably discuss is why the backflip is banned, which is what I'd like to say, but we don't actually know why the backflip is banned, and there are a couple of conflicting reports. And the one that's seems most obvious is that it's dangerous.
Well, yeah, because you're
upside down,
blades on your feet.
With knives on your feet. But there's equally, as official sounding sources that have said, well, actually, no, the reason it's banned is because officials back in the 60s and 70s thought that the move was too, and I quote, showbiz.
So apparently it was too showbiz.
Yes, for figure skaters, the people who do flips and twirls on the ice wearing the most flamboyant, garish uniforms of any Olympians.
Yeah, they wear these outfits that are so sparkly and also skin coloured, so they always look half naked.
Some of them used to perform in tuxedos. There were people who performed in suits and dresses and stuff like that. And what screams showbiz more than a fucking suit? It's think about that. Oh, it's too showbiz to do a backflip. Now you go out there in this sparkly pink dress and dance to fucking classical music. Well, that one's the funniest to me because even if you don't know anything about figure skating, you know that they go onto the ice just dressed to the nines, like they're on the red carpet and do crazy, routines, inspired by sometimes pop culture and things from show business. But whatever, I digress and we'll move on. The only thing people watching this video really need to know, though, is that the move was banned from figure skating competitions in 1976.
So where did Surya Bonaly enter?
Well, she enters the scene in around the late 80s to the mid 90s, because that's roughly when her competitive peak was, and she competed at 3 subsequent Olympic Games, as well as figure skating competitions all over the world. And in specific regards to the Olympics, while she never placed, she was always seen as one of the contenders, because of just her sheer physicality and the fact that she was so gifted on the ice. And in specific regards to the backflip, she's noted as being one of the few people on the ice in the era that she competed who could do it consistently, which is a bit annoying because you weren't allowed to do it in competition.
So I can see doing a backflip is quite an impressive move to pull off.
Yes.
But how can it intimidate other athletes on the ice?
Yeah, especially at the Olympic level. Well, let's set the scene and go back to 1992. And during the practice sessions for the Winter Olympics that year, Surya Bonaly just started doing backflips. Just because she could, as part of her training routine. It's you can't do it on the ice during competition, but there's nothing stopping her from doing it during practice. And it's noted that almost as soon as she started backflipping on the ice, an Olympic official came over and said, "You've got to stop that right now. Stop doing that." And ostensibly they told her to stop doing it because it's it's an illegal move in competition, but remember, this is practice. And it later turned out that the reason they did it is because other people on the ice, and particularly their trainers, were complaining because she kept doing the backflip next to other competitors, which they saw as intimidation. Yeah, my guy does not want to go on the ice when she's out there because she's just showing everybody up because they're going out there and just doing a sow cow or something. She's going, boom, perfect backflip. Surya Bonaly, for the record, was not doing it to intimidate other people. She did it as part of her practice and warm up, but it didn't stop people from seeing it that way.
Yeah.
And the thing that cracks me up about this is I fully believe that if Olympic officials had not stopped doing this, she'd have just done a spirit bomb. Doing a training routine. So it just looked where is Surya? Oh, she's just up there charging a spirit bomb just above the ice like this. It's oh man, that is pretty intimidating.
Did she actually do a flip on the ice during a competition?
She did. Once, because she knew she was going to lose. We're going to set the scene now. It's 1998, it's the Winter Olympics once again, and Bonaly is competing, and she's very unfortunately suffered an injury to her Achilles tendon. So basically the ankle, you know, the place where you put all your weight during figure skating. And she is in 6th place with one more, chance to go out on the ice to impress the judges. She knows that she's lost. There is no performance she can do good enough to help her place. What she did is she went onto the ice, remember, with an injured ankle, did her routine, and then instead of I think the final thing she was going to do, which I think was a triple sow cow or something like that, did a perfect backwards backflip and landed on one foot.
I'm assuming because the move was illegal,
Yes.
she was penalised for it.
Yes, very heavily, and she didn't place, but she wasn't going to place anyway, so she didn't really care. But just for a moment, think about this, because a single-footed backflip onto one leg has never been performed in an Olympic event since or prior, meaning she's the only person in the history of the sport to have performed that move in competition. And just think for a moment that she performed a move that has never been equalled, never been topped, never been attempted, and she lost. And that's what she wanted to do. She thought, well, fuck it, I'm retiring after this anyway, I'm going to go out with a bang. So she went out and did the most difficult move in her entire repertoire, a move she knew nobody else in that competition would dare attempt, could let alone pull off. And while the judges penalised her for it, what the crowd saw was the most spectacular display of athleticism ever seen in a figure skating competition. And we should probably address at this point that there's a bit of misinformation about this story. And one version of it says that Bonaly was banned from doing a backflip, or told not to do one, because she was the only person in the world who could do it, and it was embarrassing other figure skaters. And that's obviously not the case. The backflip was banned for everybody, and it had been since 1976. But there is some truth to that story, specifically the part that says it was embarrassing other figure skaters.
It seems unfair, but at least she's now known, she's remembered as a legend.
On one hand, she didn't win that Olympic medal, but on the other, she's now remembered as the only person in the history of figure skating who's ever performed that move. And I know which one I'd rather have, because I know which one people are going to talk about on the fucking internet. So today's video has been about a forbidden move in figure skating. So let's carry on in that vein and talk about secret or forbidden moves that aren't allowed to be performed from sports movies. And Nisha, you're not really the biggest fan of sports movies, is that right?
Yeah, I know nothing about sports. I don't watch sports.
Okay, so let's bring in Adam then, who does do that and talk about it. So Adam, would you like to kick us off with a secret move from a sports movie?
I think it just has to be in the Mighty Ducks, the Flying V.
Oh, the Flying fucking V. The dumbest move ever, where they just travel as a triangle. It's so stupid, isn't it?
Just have the guy with the puck at the back and everyone in front of him and just protect him.
That's got to be illegal, hasn't it? That's so stupid.
I've never seen it performed in real NHL. I've never seen a team get together and go, right, it is Flying V
It's time for the Flying V. But it's shown as being it's this completely unbeatable tactic that no one can stop.
Yeah.
When all you've got to do is just take out one of the kids.
Yeah.
It's just rub one of them kids out, that kid with puck is yours. I'm going to go for the movie Shaolin Soccer, which contains so many hidden moves. My favourite being Iron Stomach Man, who gets the ball stuck in his stomach and then runs into back of net. Who can stop that tactic?
Because there's that one as well where he does the header. Yeah. He just flips into the air, just absolute power jams.
100 foot into the air. Or then you've got the goalkeeper, who looked exactly like Bruce Lee. Yeah. And fun fact, his entire career has been playing Bruce Lee in TV shows and documentaries and stuff. Who just does all the dragon catching on stuff like that. The thing I love about Shaolin Soccer, though, is that every person on the pitch has their own secret move.
Yeah.
And I think the part that always just gets me that a little bit hype is when the trainer goes, we're getting our ass kicked. I thought you said these guys were good. He goes, they just need to find their chi or their centre or something.
Yeah.
And then he goes, it's happened. And it shows you him. And they go around, they're all just in meditation stance. And there's that one guy in the net who's held up by the net with his hand. And they all play with their eyes shut, don't they?
Yeah, because they're just perfectly in tune.
Oh, he just does that monk front flip thing on the head. to get the... It's like, oh, this is so fucking cool. We're going to talk about that. We can talk about Father Ted, right? It's the all priests over 75, five-a-side, something or other, and they get Father Jack in a wheelchair and just put the ball on his lap and just drive him into back of net. It's like, that is so good. So how do you stop that kind of shit, man?
If you go back to films, it's probably just Space Jam, where Michael Jordan has the extendable arm.
The extendo dunk. Oh, that's so good. Well, the one that's the most cheating is when they pull a gun on that guy. They're like the Pulp Fiction one where they just shoot a guy in the face.
Is that Daffy Duck?
No, I think it's Yosemite Sam.
Yeah, it is.
Yosemite Sam and Elmer Fudd just pull out guns and shoot somebody. The ultimate secret move, just shoot someone in the mouth.
Murder someone.
If we're going to talk about like dumb sports movie, it has to be Dodgeball.
Yeah.
Where they figure out that one of the guys on their team, like, you know, the downtrodden guy with, like, you know, the tiger mom, like Asian wife, where he just gets really pissed off and gets so angry that no one can stop him. How do you stop this man? How do you stop the power of cuckoldery, man? It can't be stopped. He's so angry because his wife's going to bang another dude. Oh, man, there's so many good, like, sports movies where they just do that shit.
What would your special move be?
I don't know, I'd probably get drunk. It's what people are going to say in it, but I just thought, like, oh, he knows the secret techniques. So why don't you just do that from the start?
Yeah.
Like,
I always wondered that.
Like the flying V, if it's really that good, only do that.
Yeah. Just every time, just keep doing it.
Just only ever do the flying Vs. People get so pissed off, they just stop playing. Because that's how that, like, series should end. We're like, no, fuck you, you've got the best team.
Yeah.